All right. Let's see. Oh, right now. Here we go.
Kate Daly Show. Ooh, we just love the smell of chemtrails in the morning. The Kate Daly Show starts now.
Aurora Fest here on Fox Weather at night. This is a picture that we just had sent in to us via the QR code that you see on your screen. Thanks a lot, Tina Peterson. That's Urbandale, Iowa. Goodness, that is something else, isn't it? Wow. You got the pinks, you've got the reds, you got the purples, you got some greens in there too. Been outside yet. We got a big aurora event that's going on right now. And remember, the forecasting with this stuff is not always perfect. It really became apparent like an hour or two ago that this was going to be a really big deal, at some point here on Tuesday evening. Here's another nice shot here. Luciana Castro. This is in Richland Center, Wisconsin.
What's wrong with the music? Welcome, Kate Daly Show. Oh, how are you today? I hope you're good. And of course, the phenomenon that has struck the country, and everyone on social media is talking about it. And so, of course, we will today on the Kate Daly Show, KateDalyRadio.com, KateDalyRadio.com, DALLEY. And let me just say, yeah, we've got the Northern Lights. We've got Midwest Melissa. I've got Susan's out today. I've got we've got all kinds of topics to get to, but wow, everyone's looking up. So this is going to get interesting today, and so we're going to talk a little bit about HAARP, and we're going to talk a little bit about just the phenomenon of Northern Lights, and then of course what mainstream is saying about it. And it is bizarre. It's a little bizarre. I mean, don't you think, Melissa? Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, it's weird.
I don't know if you remember, but I went out aurora watching way back, like I don't think it's been a year ago. Maybe it was in the spring.
Yes.
And it was just really kind of amazing to see. And when I got home, I was so excited, and I got home that night, and then I started looking at it, and I'm like, oh, it can be caused by certain other phenomenon. This may not actually truly be the Northern Lights.
Ooh, this is going to get juicy. Because, anytime we say, I don't know, this seems a little off and weird. I know there's people out there that roll their eyes. I could care less if they roll their eyes, but I just think it's funny because we just want to just go, there's nothing more to it. But it is a strange occurrence because normally I would have to go to, like Iceland or somewhere up in the north to be able to see the Northern Lights. So if I can see them clearly from where I'm at, it's a little strange, I have to say, because I think we all are sort of in that same kind of, we have to travel to go see that, and we usually have. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say as far as some of the different things. I've got Midwest Melissa today, and also of course, you're on. And then, of course, the phone number. So 435-680-2503, 680-2503. You can text, you can call, and get in on this. But let's go on this. I'm actually excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, obviously, the Northern Lights are a natural phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
You can go to Iceland and see them. You can go to Alaska. You can go to Northern Canada and see the Northern Lights.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I think that has been unusual in the last probably maybe year or so is that where you can see them now.
Yeah.
I live in northern Indiana, and it's been very, very occasionally that we can see them. Now it's like every other weekend.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Northern Lights. And they're moving much farther south. I think you're quite a bit farther south. Although you're in the west, but you're way much farther south than I am here.
Than Midwest Melissa. Yes,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
And
so what do you think?
At one point, the Northern Lights are ordinarily caused by solar activity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's missing, unless I missed it.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about a big solar storm or like a coronal?
No, I have to tell you, I have to say this because I was laughing out loud, and I don't laugh out loud a ton. So when I saw this today, because when you look back at how the media frames weather, they get really creative. So today, like 5 minutes ago, they were saying or 30 minutes ago, they were saying on CNN, a cannibal storm.
A cannibal storm.
A cannibal from the sun-triggered auroras. Another round is on its way, but it's a cannibal storm. I mean, I look back at some of the phrases
What does that mean?
I have no idea. That's what I was going to ask you.
Like, should I be concerned about headhunters next? I don't know. I'm worried.
I was dying. I was laughing. So I'm like, leave it to CNN to try to figure out a way to get eyeballs on this. And so what they're calling it is a strong geomagnetic storm condition triggered by intense solar flares. They're ongoing and classified as G3 on a scale of 1 to 5 to indicate severity. The event could reach severe or G4 conditions with a chance of extreme solar weather. I'm like, what the hell was that? What? So
with such extremes in the solar stuff, and I'm glad to hear you say that they are saying that there is some kind of solar thing, because if it's not solar driven, what does drive it? And that's really the question. So I've seen two other things lately.
All right.
One of them is we got to know that the Northern Lights live in the ionosphere. Okay. That's important to this story, because what does HAARP do? HAARP electrifies, and they call it an ionospheric heater. They're bombarding the ionosphere with ions, which is electrifying the ionosphere. That's one of the things that HAARP can do. And I thought this was really interesting, that if you're seeing red, that's the electrification of oxygen ions that live about 150 to 300 miles above the Earth. If you're seeing green, and I think most of the pictures I have seen have been red and green.
Right.
It could be also the electrification of oxygen, which lives lower. They're 60 to 150 miles. So you'll see green at the bottom and red above if you're outside looking at it.
Right.
The pink, purple, and blue is nitrogen being electrified, and that's below 60 miles.
Okay.
So that'll be down on the horizon line mostly. But HAARP can do that. Now, if I took a minute and I asked ChatGPT, because we know ChatGPT knows everything, right?
Right.
And they always tell us the truth about everything too.
Well, sometimes, partly.
What it said, what ChatGPT said was, yes, HAARP can create this, but it's only very minimal and only very localized. So just the admission that, yes, it could be. I'm just like, well, I don't know that the scientists at HAARP are telling ChatGPT everything they're up to.
You think? So. Yeah. In fact, Matt Landman was out there talking about, he goes, I don't know about you, but I don't believe those were real Northern Lights, but rather another HAARP creation.
Could be HAARP. There's another explanation, though, floating out there, because I think everyone should get a multiple choice test. You have A, solar flares, B, it's HAARP, and C is that it's chemtrails.
Yes.
It's whatever they're spraying in the atmosphere, because some of the behavior of this particular sequence here, it's not acting as the Northern Lights usually do.
Right.
Meaning, like, usually the Northern Lights look like a curtain effect. And they kind of...
That's interesting.
They kind of... I don't know how they kind of glow, and then they won't glow consistently the same color. But you can see, like, almost a curtain effect. I remember when I went out and looked earlier here, I have some photographs where you get that curtain effect, and there was a geomagnetic storm going on when I was looking. But apparently the nanoparticles and the heavy metals that are being released into the air, because, after all, we have to block the sun or we'll have climate change. Right? Anyway,
I'm just going to say the climate change thing, isn't it going on in Brazil right now? Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's one going on right now. A conference.
That's just over.
Yeah, not climate change, not the way that we're sold, but I'm talking just about the conference about it. Yeah, sorry, I should have
What is it?
elaborated.
COP 30 or COP 20 or whatever it is.
Whatever.
Prince William was there, and Keir
Of
Starmer
course.
was there, and
All the
all
major
usual
players.
muckety mucks.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you have higher particle concentration, you get more reflection. The larger the particle size causes light to scatter more. Lower altitude will bring all of this to the zone of the atmosphere where we could actually see it. So I'm not totally sold that it's any, I mean, so you have a multiple choice test. You can believe what you want to believe, A, B, or C. And then D would be like all of the above, and E would be none of the above. Who knows?
Well, let me just say that my first thought when I was looking at this whole thing, because I got a text and it said, what are they testing? And I felt the same way. I feel like Project Bluebeam is just right on the horizon. I mean, not to make a pun or anything, but it's right there on the horizon. I think that could they be testing some things out for their Project Bluebeam? Are we being set up next for holograms in the sky? Who knows? Because if you read through, it's one of the things that kind of actually scared me was Project Bluebeam when you look at it in detail. And the guy that brought it forward is dead mysteriously, but I honestly thought that. I said, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, what are they pushing this out there for? Because they're getting us used to seeing phenomenons, and they're used to seeing things we're not used to seeing, and that kind of priming the pump, if you will. Is that a good way to put it? Priming the pump? That's what I thought when I first looked and saw what everybody was posting. And then I was noticing other people kind of coming out of the woodwork to say the same thing. And they were like, what are they going to roll out next? The fake alien invasion? And I was sitting there going, okay, I'm not the only one who had this thought.
I do have fake alien invasion on my bingo card for 2026. So
Oh my God.
I win a prize if that happens.
It's on mine for 2030, but I could be wrong. I may be overshooting on that. Maybe they're quickly getting that ready. I don't know. But it is getting rather strange to see this kind of thing. And I'm glad that you brought up the curtain effect and some of the differences, because that's what people are going, now, wait a second, is it the same or is it something else? And what are they doing to the sun? I've been getting that a lot today.
Listen to this. This is the summary portion of a little article about all of this. It says, while auroras, which is the northern lights, are driven by solar plasma interacting with the magnetosphere, the recent lights, like what's been going on this week, appear more consistent with light scattering from metallic particles or particulates and chemtrail remnants reflecting ambient light in the upper atmosphere. So you ask yourself, if you look at them, if you see it, does it look like it has that curtain effect, or does it just look like color bands in the sky? And by the way, I have also heard that a lot of the chemtrail spraying happens at night. So,
right,
maybe it's the trade-off. We're going to block the sun, but look at all the pretty colors we get. It's like being in the circus tent. We get purples and greens and blues, and isn't it pretty? And haven't we all wanted to see the northern lights? So I don't know.
Well,
I think either of those are possible, or both.
There was another gentleman who was pointing out pole shifts and different things like that. That was kind of an interesting avenue. And also the chemtrails, what chemicals, how the chemicals merge into these colors. And you were talking about that just a little bit.
I have not thought about the polar shift. I've got a book on my shelf that I have not yet read. I need to get it out and read it on polar shift, because that easily could be a legitimate part of this too. We could be looking at a completely natural phenomenon. We really could. That is a possibility. Put your money where you want to put it, but the pole shift may be causing who knows what kinds of other things. And I think it is the ultimate hubris of people to believe that, number one, we have control over everything. Just like saying, what are they doing to the sun? I don't think there's much we can do to the sun, actually. I think the sun kind of does its thing.
There is a concerted effort to dim it.
Well, that's not something they're doing to the sun. That's
Right,
something they're
right,
doing
right.
on the earth.
Yes, yes.
And that's a difference.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, go ahead and fly a nuclear bomb into the sun. I don't think the sun's going to care very much. It's not going to matter. But what we do here on Earth matters a lot. And
Mhm.
HAARP is one of the things that's being done on the Earth. I think the sun is also shifting magnetic
Mhm.
stuff around. And we know that this is a natural phenomenon that has happened on the Earth, that
Mhm.
the Earth has flipped its magnetic
Right.
poles before.
Mhm,
It could
mhm.
happen again. I don't know why we think it wouldn't happen to us. Who
I
knows?
don't know. The news,
Fascinating.
CNN, the Communist News Network, they they're so awful
The Mum
with
Dummy Network.
with their G5 and their, everything is a Cat 5, and I mean it's just so insanely ridiculous. I would feel like the most ridiculous person on earth if I worked at CNN, but we had a G5 storm 2 years ago, is what LB is saying, and we're still here to talk about it. Yeah, that's so true.
Well, people don't ever think,
Yeah.
we've talked about this a long, long time ago, but
Mhm,
it's one
mhm,
of the things I think about periodically. The
mhm.
Carrington effect.
Mm,
When
mhm,
there was a solar storm that was so powerful that hit the Earth, it
mhm,
hit one side of the Earth with literally a solar EMP.
mhm,
And at the time, when I can't remember now, the Carrington event happened in the 1800s
mhm.
after the Civil War, so maybe 1880s plus or minus.
Right.
And it was so strong
Mhm.
that it shot sparks out of telegraph keys.
Yeah. Huh.
So
All right.
have we had a solar storm that strong lately?
I don't know. Let's take a quick call. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead. Whoops. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that. Just a moment. Let me let me get things good. Okay, here we go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so I think you got a fifth model here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a synthesis between the electric universe model and the universal model.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Sessions seems
Yeah.
to think that the Earth can actually launch electric fields into the ionosphere from piezoelectric forces
Mm-hmm.
due to tidal motion of the tectonic plates. And so if you get it strong enough,
Mm-hmm.
it can go into glow mode, and it actually comes out of the tectonic plates of the Earth.
Okay.
So that could be another thing,
Mm-hmm.
that
Okay.
the Earth is producing it itself.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you. I really appreciate the call.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
I'm going to have to look into that one.
Yep. And then of course, what is HAARP glow, not to be confused with Northern Lights. And so there's all, I mean, and I like what he had to say. I just HAARP can create air glow. Isn't that what you were talking about before? Air glow,
Yeah.
by using the high frequency radio pulses. And so is this more of
Well,
coming from
that's-
something like that? Mhm.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that what HAARP is doing.
Mhm.
I don't know, air glow. That may be another word for the same phenomenon that
Yeah.
I have heard about. What they're doing is they're ionizing the ionosphere.
Mhm.
So they're sending electrical, which would be radio or maybe microwave, I don't know what kind of
Right.
pulses it is, into the ionosphere.
Mhm.
And it's all supposed to be for scientific research, of course.
Of course.
But
Mhm.
let's morph this a little bit. Let's tweak it a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I took a minute today to check this out.
Mhm.
The USS Gerald Ford, which is the new class of carrier that the United States has. The USS Gerald Ford is the very first one launched, but there's more coming. It's a big super uber carrier ship, and they have sent it now to the Caribbean. Speak softly and carry a big stick. This
Yeah.
is the big stick.
Mhm.
And the USS Gerald Ford carries directed energy weapons.
Mhm.
So I ask yet again, ChatGPT, is there any kinship, relationship between directed energy weapons and HAARP?
Mhm.
Oh, no, because directed energy weapons are military and HAARP is only scientific. Now you can make of that what you will too. But they're using the same kinds of information to do the same kinds of things. A directed energy weapon is actually using either lasers or microwave beams to do whatever they need it to do. And the research from that is coming, at least in part, from some of the research from HAARP.
Okay. So
it all kind of joins together.
So here's a couple of different thoughts too. So one person is texting me for the show. If the Earth is creating it, that's because HAARP has directed super low radio frequencies into the Earth, and we're going to see more earthquakes and volcanoes that are going to look natural, but they're not because they're brought on by this. So that's kind of interesting. Okay.
No, I agree with that. I think that's also a possibility.
The other one is this, and I did think about this too, just because what are we looking at? We're looking at Hegseth talking about getting a war footing. We're talking about money being dumped into possible war. We've been ramping up for that for a good solid year or two now. And so here was the thought that, you know, they're preparing for a grid down event and then blame it on solar flares, because what was CNN blaming it on? Solar flares, right? And we did see this last year, and that's what one of the comments is coming in. And yes, you're right. I just think if there was a grid down, what would throw us into war more? I mean, there's probably two events where people would get very much in favor of war, and they wouldn't even care who, just like back in the Iraq war, they didn't even care who, they just wanted somebody to pay the price. Number one would be a grid event, a grid down event. And number two would be something where our government did something to Trump and then blamed somebody out in the Middle East. So I've been saying that for 2 years. So those are the two events, I think, because the grid down would cause so many things to happen here that it wouldn't be a natural grid down. It wouldn't be an attack from another country. It would be our government doing it as a false flag to blame for war.
Well, before you get too far, let me just say this. If we have a genuine grid down, you won't know who caused it. Yeah. Because there will be no communications. You will. I don't know. There's not going to be any big announcement. I'm putting that in air quotes that, somebody did this to us or whatever. It's solar flares, whatever. Yeah. We will not know. If you read there's a book by William Forstchen called 2 Seconds After. I think that's the name of it. And it's about an EMP that hits. Yeah. And they don't know why. All they know is that they have no grid. I don't know that can throw us into a war. How do they mobilize? How does any information come to us?
Right.
What that would do is that would break everything down into tribal, warfare internally,
and be a great time to do a great reset. So then, of course, if everything was wiped out, then you would have.
You want to reset back to the Stone Age.
Well, I mean, reset in financial terms where everything, becomes way more digital. It's an excuse. It would be a reason.
There is no digital. If there's a cutoff of the grid, you have no digital.
Right,
method.
but I'm talking about when they come back up with their solution is what I'm talking about. So it would be a solution to their own grid down for a while to make people very desperate on what they would do, and then you introduce some solutions to bring it back up, and then everything is transparent. Because if you were really looking at that and you were the deep state, it would be a great way to kind of wipe people out financially, because records would be gone, bank accounts, I mean, all kinds of things. Like, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just thinking ahead kind of what they do, what maybe some of the plans are to get us into a great reset, because they're going to use some kind of catalyst, and then the great reset will be,
I'll tell you what,
or it's going to be gradual. It'll be one of the other.
If they did that, it's beyond a reset. That is a cannibal event, meaning we're going to be eating each other, like literally. Because
depends on how long it lasts. Maybe.
In most scenarios where there is a grid down event, you can't. It's not like in Star Wars where Obi-Wan Kenobi pulls the lever and everything goes down and then you can
Right.
push it back up and it comes back. If we have a genuine grid down, it would
Uh-huh.
take a long time for that to come back
Mm-hmm.
because the
Mhm.
grid would be damaged by that.
Right. Right.
So they would lose their ability to
Mhm.
communicate with us.
Mhm.
And it's not that, people who are in hospitals would die, people who are dependent on medications would die. It would be that is genuinely an existential threat to
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah.
And we would have warlords controlling us. It's not a great reset of Klaus Schwab.
Mm.
That is warlordism.
Well, it would
which
depend
is-
on how long, though. I mean, you could have a grid down that could wipe a lot of stuff out, and put it back with some modifications and some different things that they would possess. I mean, we're getting into some pretty heady territory talking about the Great Reset, but along with this. But I was just kind of looking ahead because if you're preparing people for a false flag grid down, there'd have to be a pretty good reason as to why you'd want to do that, right? So it'd have to be something on their bingo card for us, or it would have to be war, which would also be on their bingo card. But I'm just kind of thinking out loud because there would be a reason for the grid down. It wouldn't just be a grid down. I mean, yes, yeah, maybe.
I honestly think aliens would be an easier way to achieve the end.
Yeah.
No, I'm not being
No,
jokey.
I know.
I mean, because if in an alien invasion you preserve the
Mhm.
grid, but you just have to knuckle under to the aliens. If you
Right.
have a genuine grid down,
Mm-hmm.
the unintended consequences of that are so extreme.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say? Like 80% of the population would be dead within a year
Yeah.
because you're not going to grow
Mhm.
food. You don't have anything.
Right. Somebody was just asking me about, I mentioned Project Bluebeam and in the beginning, and I just wanted to say Sergei Monast, Monast. So Sergei Monast is the one that brought that forward, and he died in his 40s. I think he was like 49. He died in his 40s. He brought this forward, Project Bluebeam, and so you can do with that what you want. You can go to Warwick's, WARWICK.com and see there's all kinds of places where you can kind of get the lowdown on it. It's supposedly it came out sometime in the 60s or 70s from what was said about it. So there is a book about it, a fast read about it, but it's a theory, a project that kind of came to everybody's attention on the fake alien thing, which, by the way, the first head of NASA said supposedly on his deathbed that they would try the alien invasion. So that was one of the things that they were going to do to fool us when terrorism didn't do what they wanted it to do in terrifying people. When we just got tired of hearing about terrorism and finally realized that our government and our intelligence agencies were the ones that were funding the so-called terrorists around the country, like ISIS, or around the world like ISIS. And so when we finally figured that out, they were going to have to come forth with the alien invasion, which, by the way, again, in the last like 7 years, the government has done a 180, right, on aliens, where they were completely saying it didn't exist and then started saying, well, it does exist. So that they're kind of maybe moving in that direction, which was more proof that Project Bluebeam could be very real project instead of a theory. So there you go.
I think there's more than there's terrorists and there's climate change have been used as levers.
Yes.
And neither one of them really seems to be
if you
holding much water anymore.
Well, if you're a real terrorist, you could get your hands on a nuke and go nuke some country. I mean, all the things that haven't happened are really what people should look at. And then everyone should look at the matching tennis shoes and the matching white outfits and the Toyota trucks that seem to get delivered. Sorry, it's just so funny that people can't figure this out. That it is such a it's just to the tune of ridiculous. I mean, think of it this way. In 2020, you didn't hear a word about ISIS, right? In 2020, where all the terrorists, I guess, were terrified of germs. So they all stayed indoors, supposedly, because we didn't have any terrorist activity. We only had it when everybody was up and running again, which is kind of funny because if you're a real terrorist, you're going to take advantage of everybody being where they are, right? In
they were on lockdown, weren't they, in 2020? Weren't they home wearing masks?
I'm
just
sorry,
terrified of of the virus?
People
That's
just,
what I heard.
we're so blind. We're just so blind. I mean, if I hear terrorist cells one more time, I'm like, please, it is not a terrorist cell in this country. But we've been hearing it for 25 years, 30 years. So I just, as we talk about Project Bluebeam and their ability to use aliens to their advantage, I definitely think that's coming, only because look at all the other things that are happening, especially with our government doing that 180. All of a sudden, they're acknowledging that they're real and that there is something there. And I'm thinking this was such a made up little green men made up thing. That or the lizard people. I don't know which, but it's definitely something I think that is very made up. So
Oh my goodness, you've
blah.
disillusioned
I
me
know,
now.
sorry.
There's no lizard
I
people?
know you want to hear
Really?
lizard people are real and aliens are real, but it was such a creation of the CIA. So it's amazing because right when the CIA was instigated, all of a sudden they started coming up with the little green men stories. So in the late 40s. But with that being said, push that aside because somebody was just asking about it. So I just wanted to make sure and tell people what to look at for that. But this could be different things. And I, for some reason, do not think it's natural. I really don't. I don't think it's natural. And when you're viewing these things, I think that it's preparatory for something. It usually is. Usually we look back and we go, oh, that was preparatory. So yesterday I mentioned that the alcohol prohibition was the preparatory experimentation for the drug trade that they were going to do volumes and still do of business in. So that what they were doing was kind of scoping out how people were reacting to it to get the underground to figure out how to move drugs through this country, but never as CIA or feds be blamed for it. But alcohol prohibition had a reason, and it was done by the Committee of 300. So I do think things are preparatory for what's coming, for sure. And this just doesn't seem natural to me. Does it to you? I mean, cannibal,
No,
the cannibal storm.
Unless they mean we're going to be eating each other. I'm not sure what that means. The
Midwest
cannibals.
Melissa, I love you. Are we going to be
Like,
yeah. I mean, what
can
a
we start with
term.
Like, are they more tasty than
Oh
the
my
rest of
gosh, CNN. The land of robotic, a news anchor. Yes, I do think there's something to this, and the mainstream media wanting us to believe desperately that the sun is causing the auroras with electromagnetic storms. So if they're saying that, there's always going to be a pinch of truth and then a lot of lies, right? That's how the media works. So where is it really coming from?
Well, for one, just a fun hint.
Okay.
Don't take your solar weather report from CNN anyway. There's very reliable people out there.
Oh.
And I know of one guy who's an earthquake predictor guy, and he doesn't even trust like the National Oceanic and Atmospheric, the NOAA people, the weather people, to tell us the truth about. He doesn't trust the U.S. whatever the geologic people that monitor, because he's got data that says like in Europe they're reporting an earthquake here, but our people here aren't telling us that it happened.
Well,
so there's find more reliable sources about solar activity, and there's plenty of them out there.
Yes, CNN was also reporting that, of course, because this happens every year, and we mock the crap out of it because it is pretty funny to go back every single year, and they always have a reason they can't do things. But NASA is again postponing its launch until space weather conditions improve, and I have to say that there's always some reason that they can't do what they want to do, but then a lot of money lands at NASA. So money laundering, bingo. But yeah, there's something there to look at too.
I'm sure this is such a disillusioning show. First, the lizard people are not real, and now NASA's a money laundering. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I grew up on that NASA stuff. Come on. That's my childhood.
I know, right? It is everyone's childhood. I'm sorry to shatter your childhood out there. But what's funny about it is 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, they had what looked like a United Nations poster of all ethnicities. But they were all going to fly up to the moon again and or fly around it, whichever. And of course, they couldn't go because they couldn't determine how to feed them up there. They could in 1969.
but they can't now. And also they were worried that their outfits wouldn't keep them warm enough, because in 69 it worked in that little tiny capsule with aluminum foil around it, Reynolds wrap. But now they're having a tough time trying to figure out how to keep them warm. I mean, I'm talking every stupid, lame excuse you could ever come up with are the reasons that they plan the launch. They do the media blitz about the launch, and then they say we can't do the launch. So, I mean, I don't know how many years they have to do this to get people's attention to the fact that they can't do what they say they can do.
Oh, wait.
But
What happened? I thought under Obama, NASA's job was supposed to be to make Muslims feel better. What happened to that?
yes.
Didn't that happen? Do I remember that right? Wasn't that a shift in NASA's mission was no longer to be focused on space stuff, but to help Muslim countries feel better about themselves? I'm like,
well,
what the heck?
we haven't been back there since 1971, and can't seem to find the technology. So it's very interesting to watch what excuse they'll come up with next. I think they're running out, but then when I think they're running out, they come up with another stupid excuse. So, but this one was the Escapade spacecraft. Yeah. So
maybe Tang quit producing excuse. Isn't that what happened?
I want to know where the suitcase cars are, because they obviously invented it in 69, 70. I want to know where the suitcase car is, right? Because they were able to bring it up in a suitcase and assemble it in those big puffy outfits and actually drive it on the moon's surface. So I'd love to know where that invention went. Usually we see the invention, right? I mean, I think
I had a little Lego thing like that
yes.
when I was a kid.
Yes.
That you put together. I could put it together so the astronauts could do it.
Well,
I'm sure. Isn't that right?
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Yeah. So it is Muslim outreach. Yes, Muslim outreach.
I remember
Thank
that.
you. Yes. So one of the comments coming in, 435-680-2503 while we're live. It is getting kind of interesting, but they did throw this into the story. And then they also said, so this is what mainstream is saying, which is usually going to be 100 degrees off of what the normal story is. The recent surge, this is Communist News Network. The recent surge in activity stems from an active region of sunspots on the sun called AR 14274. According to Ryan French, the solar physicist at the Laboratory of Atmospheric and Space Physics at the University of Colorado, Boulder. And AR 14274, I love that. Thank you for that name. Still has the potential to produce more X-class, kind of like X-Men, right? X-class solar flares.
No, that's legit. That is what they call them. X-class solar flares. That's not.
I just like the name. And so, then, however, the region is now rotating away from us. So any eruptions from future flares are increasingly less likely to hit us as in the days pass. So that's what the Communist News Network is saying. So I would go the other way. Wouldn't you? I mean, usually, whatever CNN says, go the other way to try to find some truth.
I have come to the conclusion lately that we are more and more being put in a situation where we cannot know the truth of things.
Yeah.
And that serves their purpose too. Is it are legit solar flares? Is it HAARP? Is it the Earth itself responding to something? Is it chemtrails? I don't know. I don't even have the ability to find out. Really, I mean, all the research you do, I don't have the ability to set up instrumentation in my backyard and determine any of this.
I just know the official story is usually the other way. But I love this answer. Thank you for this text. NASA means never a straight answer. Thank you. That is the truth about NASA for sure. I do love that. And meteorologists in Texas are saying solar flares. So if that's what, I don't know. I mean, not always, but usually it's the other way, whatever the news is saying.
You know, we can have solar flares and have HAARP involvement or chemtrail involvement at the same time. It doesn't have to be only one thing
you're right
going
about that.
on.
Yeah, I actually think you're right about that. Yeah, for sure.
And solar flares come in a variety of, strengths, and they hit differently on different parts of the globe. There's all these factors that have to be factored in. Are we facing the side of the sun where the solar flare is going to blah, blah, blah.
Right.
There's a lot of factors. And so I think what's happening for most people, they're just like, oh, look, Aurora Borealis, cool. And then they go home and they turn their TV on. And it's over. That's what most of us are living anymore. And I think that's also by design.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. By the way, a cannibal storm, if anybody sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Cannibal storm. Okay. Because whoever coined this, so they should get some sort of award for really being out of their minds. But a powerful geomagnetic storm that happens when a fast moving coronal mass ejection, a CME, from the sun catches up to and emerges with a slower CME in front of it. So this collision creates a more intense solar wind with tangled. I love the words, magnetic fields that can cause more significant disruptions to Earth's magnetic field, leading to phenomena like the auroras and potential problems with power grids, CPS and GPS and communications. So there you go. They're calling it the cannibal storm because it has what? And everybody should take that in. Potential problems with power grids. So I don't think people are too far off when they're discussing the fact that we could be looking at something like that and them blaming the cannibal.
Well, years ago, my husband worked for a cable company, and it was routine that, when we all had little dishes on our house, remember those days?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we frequently had power outages due to solar storms. And it wasn't power outages, it was an interference on your reception from your dish because of all of this. And somehow we all seem to survive it. I don't know how we did that, but I would call my husband at work and say, is there like a solar storm going on? He'd go, yeah, we're going to be out for like 3 hours. And I go, oh, okay. And I turn the radio on and do something else. It's we're going to live through it unless, of course, we're not talking about a solar EMP. That's a whole other ball of wax and much more serious. And those happen as well. The Carrington event was a solar EMP. They're not talking about that. This cannibal thing is like one solar storm eating another one.
Right. That's what they're, the cannibal storm. So then experts are saying it's the biggest to hit, sorry about that, Britain in 2 decades. So it's already impacting their satellites is what they're saying.
What I didn't know was that astrophysicists could be so poetic. I always thought they were kind of nerdy, but apparently not. Cannibal storms and
oh my gosh,
kinds of potentials, and it just gives you doesn't it just give you the shivers?
Oh yes, it does me. Yes, I always want to see what they can come up with. What was the other one they used to do with it? No, it wasn't bombastic. It was a bomb cyclone. Bomb cyclone.
Oh yeah, we get those here in the Midwest.
Yeah, the bomb cyclone
here's
storm.
The perfect timing. Kate, I'm going to use the expression, yeah, no.
Hey,
we were talking about this little Midwest expression that's very contradictory.
You got to get eyeballs somehow.
That's the perfect way.
So
I don't know what we just had here, but I think they were calling it lake effect, which is not nearly it's not nearly as much fun as a bomb cyclone.
Well, I like
you survive a bomb cyclone, you think you've really done something.
Right.
You survive lake effect snow, it sounds like you've been on the yacht with Meghan Markle.
True, but Meghan Markle. But if you survive a cannibal, I mean, my gosh, doesn't that get the award? Come on. Cannibal.
I don't know, maybe. Well, that's for the British, right? They're the ones having that problem.
Oh, I don't mean to laugh. We just take hook, line, and sinker sometimes what they tell us. And if there was anything that I would have hoped people would have learned in 2020 is to never trust what comes out of the government's mouth. So, and the government controls the media.
Well,
so
speaking of which, I'd like to pivot over here.
Okay.
And just give everybody a quick little update on the Mamdani election. Because that's already talk about people who are lying and not telling the truth. So Mamdani, if you'll recall, just a week ago was promising the moon and the stars to everybody, free buses, and we're going to have, city grocery stores, and it's just going to be a utopian socialist paradise. already the socialist revolution has begun to crack because Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, has said pretty much no to him. She has said that, by the way, Mamdani does not have the ability to raise taxes on New Yorkers. She has the ability to do that, and the state legislature. And she said, and I'm not doing that. We're not going to encourage anyone to move out of New York City, especially not our entrepreneurial class that is providing about a third of the state's budget.
Okay.
So that could, he's not even been sworn into office yet. And already he cannot deliver on his big promises that everybody thought were just so amazing, right?
Yeah. And yeah. I do still think that there is a concerted effort, because they do control elections, that they put him in thinking that everyone would think that that the majority in America were socialist. And I still will say that I don't think they are. And I think they want us to think that, to sort of condition us for changes in this way. But yeah, I think if you went around and asked most Americans, they would say
he's
they
a
were.
puppet.
Yeah.
He's a puppet. He was totally appointed to do this. And he's going to be a spectacular failure. All I can see is bad things happening in New York, because while he cannot raise taxes on New Yorkers, what he can do is he can help to defund the police there.
Right.
He can do that as the mayor of New York, and that would be kind of a disaster for New Yorkers. Do you remember when Rudy Giuliani, that was his big claim to fame when he was the mayor, that he started cracking down on law enforcement, and it cleaned up the streets of New York. I see a similar thing ahead for Mamdani's regime here. He may only be a one-term mayor, but what's it going to take coming behind him to clean it up? It's going to be brutal. It's going to have to be brutal in order to get away with it. So, yeah, New Yorkers, you got played big time.
Yeah. Yeah. And the elections are controlled. Hate to say it, but they are. And one more thing on the what is it? The cannibal storm. Everybody's going to be viewing this tonight. It's in like 17 states across the country. But the one thing that I did want to point out that I didn't when we were talking about it is that there are certain conditions that have to be present to be able to view that, even if I were to travel to Iceland. So, and it has actually been on my bucket list to do that. But let me just say that you have to have certain conditions. You have to have clear skies. You have to have, dark conditions. You have to have strong solar activity, or whatever the case may be. I just want to say that it can't just show up. So, I mean, it is odd. It is odd. So I do think people should be kind of looking into this.
In the Midwest, having clear skies on any given night is a big if. And when I actually went out and saw it here, I had to drive out into the biggest cornfield I could find, where there's no light all the way down to the horizon. And then even then I had to see them through my phone.
Right.
So I don't know if people are this time seeing them with their naked eye or not.
Yeah, from what I hear.
But if you want to really see the show, what you have to do is you put your phone setting on the nighttime setting, and then look through the screen of your phone at the sky.
Right.
That was how I got the best.
So let me get this right. You went out in a field, but little green men didn't ascend on you in their big bubbled UFO and pick you up and poke and prod you, Midwest Melissa?
Maybe they did, and I just don't remember. I don't know.
Sorry.
Every now and then I wake up in the morning and I have a spot in my lower back that hurts. And I tell my husband, I'm like, I was abducted by aliens again last night.
Well,
because I have this spot. They've been sticking needles in my back again.
I know. They're just a poking and a prodding, and that's all they ever do. So for 10 decades, but okay.
Well, there's other body parts that I do not want them picking a probe up, but we won't discuss that on the radio right now. We won't go there.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of fascinating. So looking through, but I actually do think people are seeing it now. Some people are saying you couldn't see the lights easily without a camera or a phone with a long exposure. So that's
That's what I
interesting.
found. That
Hmm.
is exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, and I was not in the middle of a cornfield. Anybody who's ever been in a cornfield would know that once you're in the cornfield, you can't see anything. But
Hmm.
I had to go out. I drove out into the rural area where I had cornfields on either side and a little
Hmm.
place that I could pull in. There was no lights.
Hmm.
I had to find a place where I was far enough away from city lights
Hmm.
that I was okay to see it, because it is difficult. So I don't know if these are brighter. Some of the pictures that I've seen seem to be brighter. So I don't know,
Mm.
but my phone definitely helped.
Yeah.
And until my eyes knew what I was looking for,
Mm.
and then I could see it better with my eyes.
Well, I do have to say that the little green men aliens did have a preoccupation in and a concerted effort to find people in the middle of cornfields, sitting, say, on the back of their truck with no available phone whatsoever up until the time we got phones. But also that they never, you never saw them ascend into cities. So that was
Well, you
kind of
worried
interesting.
there for a minute. I thought you were going to tell me that they were calling asking about my Medicare benefits, because I got a lot of that too.
Oh, we fall for the stupidest crap. Anyway, yeah, the second we got cell phone cameras, they just sort of disappeared. Anyway, the sightings anyway.
However, there is a Bigfoot sighting that somebody got on a cell phone. So there's that.
Hey, it's always the side view with him walking with his arms stretched, right?
Well,
In
come on.
mid walk.
Now you're going to disillusion me on that one too, huh? Is that
Sorry.
the next one to go
I
out?
just, you know what? It's just funny because there's never like a dead on picture. Absolutely not. Only a side view with the arms out
Oh,
walking. I mean, it's kind of funny if you think about it.
you're so depressing today.
I'm sorry.
But now we have
I'm sorry.
aliens. We
Well,
don't even get northern lights.
I
And now you
know.
have disabused me of
Sorry.
NASA
Sorry.
and Bigfoot.
And no
What's
lizard
next?
people. I don't know.
What's next? Chupacabras too? Are they next?
Yes.
No chupacabras either.
I really don't know what to say about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're no fun at all.
I know. I'm so sorry. Let me
Here
see.
I am
Let me
trying
see.
to say something serious. You just disillusioned me.
Hey, I want to be poked and prodded and sent to a cornfield to do so. So I'll have to
Well,
work
come
on that on
on.
my bucket list.
I got the
Besides-
cornfields all around.
Right. Besides going to Iceland. So, so how different do the things look? Yeah, I mean, I definitely think people are wondering what's up because the 17 state view of this is not really a normal thing for us.
That's just not normal.
No.
Back
It is
in the day
not.
when I was in college, I lived in New England briefly,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a big deal. And they do periodically, and have always been able periodically to see the northern lights in New England given the
Mhm.
right conditions.
Yes.
And we had one night. Then they were like, "Oh, maybe we'll see the northern lights." No, we didn't. But it was such a thing. Everybody was kind of like, "Oh, it might happen tonight."
Right.
But this is crazy. This
Mhm.
is like the entire northern tier of the United States.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. That's a new phenomenon. It has not been like that.
Yes. So I love the comments coming in though, and I love how people are really sort of looking into this and not really believing the what's
Please
really
tell me
happening.
there's some people that want to create a support group for me.
I will. I'll be in charge of that.
The disillusioned
Yes.
support group.
Gosh, I'll put Bigfoot as the CEO. I'll tell you what, I don't know why we fall for this stuff. I really don't. But the folklore turns into these types of things, and people should wonder why the government did such a 180 in hiding the alien invasion to then basically saying there was one. And if all of this is accumulating into testing grounds for what's coming, and Project Bluebeam becomes a reality. I mean, there are some projects that people probably should read through. I mean, that we should be doing more homework on, because I think we kind of sit and we're waiting for what comes next instead of being a little more proactive. So in trying to figure things out, right? I don't know. That's just me.
I don't know. I don't
Anyway.
know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. All right. There were some other things too that you wanted to comment on.
Well, yeah, just on the way out
Sure.
here, there is it's an abstract. I'm trying to
Mhm.
see. Some people did some research.
Mhm.
Isn't that very specific? That's
Mhm.
not exactly bringing the receipts, but in the abstract of a recent study on the effectiveness of the flu vaccine from 2024 and 2025, that's just last year, last flu
Mhm.
season, the risk of influenza is
Mhm.
significantly higher for the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated.
Okay, say that again.
The risk of getting influenza
Mhm.
is higher for those who are vaccinated versus the unvaccinated.
Hmm.
Working age adults, a study found that the influenza vaccination of working age adults was associated with a higher risk of influenza. The vaccine has not been effective in preventing influenza. Just
Is
putting
anyone
that out there.
surprised?
And by the way, that was not done at a schlub, like
Mhm.
backwoods clinic, in some Yahoo county. It was done by the
Mhm.
Cleveland Clinic.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
they're pretty reputable.
Yes. Hmm.
So there's always that. And there's another.
I can't believe people still sign up for that. I want to kick the things over when I see them at like a local Walmart, or I just
They're everywhere
who
too.
is dumb enough to go get any more of their shots? That's who I want to meet.
They're free, Kate. Now you're
Oh
going to
my
tell me, I know the
gosh.
next thing you're going to say is just because it's free doesn't mean it's not
Mhm.
a good bargain,
Right.
right?
Right.
Woo, it's free.
Mm, I
And
know.
and they get your flu shot here, get your pneumonia shot here, get your COVID shot here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope you're got a hotline to get your
I
will
just
done somewhere.
I just after all that we've been through, people are still going to line up and get that stuff in their bodies. I just don't know what to say anymore. What do you say after 5 years of this? We were talking like this before the 5 years hit, but come on.
I'll tell you, who do we have to convince? The most vaccinated
know.
group in the US. Who are the most vaccinated people? Doctors.
Yeah, your medical staff, your first
So
responders.
not so much nurses,
Mhm.
but doctors in
Yes.
particular are highly vaccinated. And so, yeah, the people that you're going to for the very advice
Mhm.
want you to get it because they did it.
Right.
And not only that, I don't know if the financial incentives still remain. But here's something.
Donuts. Don't forget
What?
donuts.
No, I meant financial incentives for doctors.
Oh, sorry.
Who say
Mhm.
if the donuts are not a significant financial incentive.
They were for some people, just saying. Anyway, yes, but the
doctors
kickbacks.
who had the kickback schemes. Well, here's some good news.
Okay.
Maybe you'll think that this is good.
Can't wait.
This is from the NHS in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
They're having a little hissy fit because they're finding that there has been a 5.3% drop for the fourth consecutive year that vaccine rates in the UK among healthcare providers have fallen. So they're now, it's like 12% of their frontline staff now are getting vaccinated. They're saying, no, we don't want it. That means that they are seeing the impact and they're saying no to it. Now, doctors are taking it more often than nurses and other healthcare providers. But so the whole article that I read, which came out of a UK source, we have to do a better job of informing people of the risks. We have to do, we can't pressure. They've come to this conclusion. This is interesting. If part of the reason why people are not taking the vaccines in the UK, these medical people, is because they didn't like being forced into it. So they're saying, well, that should we shouldn't maybe use a policy of mandates and forcing people. Instead, let's get influencers in their churches and in their, social media influencers and convince them. And in the UK, that if you say anything bad about the government and what they want to do, you're going to end up in jail. So, yeah, isn't that great?
Perfect.
So
It's
in
perfect.
fact, they're finding that UK parents
Mhm.
are also refusing the vax. I don't know. I don't have those numbers for the
Mhm.
United States,
Mhm.
but I suspect it's similar here.
Mhm.
Our media may not report it. We may not hear it, but
Mhm.
we've got to have the courage of our conviction that if we're thinking it, other people are thinking it too.
Yeah. Hmm.
That we're not alone, that everybody didn't rush down. I have not yet been to any of those
Mhm.
pharmacies or my grocery store that's giving free vaccines. I've not
Mhm.
seen anybody getting one.
You're right, right.
And
Hmm.
I only have one friend that I know of that told me that she was going to get her vaccines because she has some health issues and she
Mhm.
really strongly felt. And I was like, "Are you sure?" And yeah, she's sure. And at that point, people do have the right to make their own choices.
Hey, we all do. We all have free agency to do what we want right now anyway. But I can't imagine after seeing the fallout that anyone would pony themselves up to the bar, like they would actually be
Well,
like, inject me now because I can't wait to not have something that they're just probably going to have because of the shot. It just makes it's like it's just lunatic at this point. So I just don't know what's
well,
in people's heads.
do you recall? I think I did this on the show a couple weeks ago that the terminology has changed in the United States. They're no longer calling them vaccines, they're calling them biogenics.
Mm. Mhm.
And now you have to refuse, if you're going into a hospital for any reason, you have to refuse the biogenics. If you just sign the
Mhm.
papers,
Right.
then they will determine, someone else, not you, will determine whether you need a flu vaccine or a pneumonia vaccine.
Mhm.
I'm concerned. My husband's getting ready to have some surgery, and I've already told him we have to read very carefully what you're signing because I don't want that to happen.
Hmm.
So, yeah, be aware that the change in vocabulary, they
Mhm.
may not ask you about whether you had a vaccine or not, but
Mhm.
are you willing to take any biogenics that they would
I would
offer?
hope you wouldn't take anything the government was trying to pawn off on us.
But
So,
see, when you're going into the hospital,
mhm.
what is a biogenic?
Mhm.
Who would know that? We're so
Right.
used to just signing whatever they put in front of us for our health care. Oh,
True.
this is a HIPAA form. Just sign here. And we
Mhm.
don't even get a copy of it anymore.
Right. You're right. We sign the terms and conditions, and a
And then they
lot.
do what
Yep.
they want.
Yes, and a lot of healthcare people feel like that the shots are misunderstood, so they're going to do them without your consent because it's what's right for you, which is a whole nother topic. Because we've seen and overheard nurses saying those very things, so it
And
does get really disturbing.
there are some nurses in those
Hmm.
hospital systems who do not approve of that, but they've not been given a choice.
Right.
If that's what's on the chart, that's what they have to do.
Hmm.
They don't like it either.
Right.
So that
Right.
this is a buyer beware situation.
Hmm.
And I'm taking a page out of your book, Kate. When my husband goes for surgery, I'm gonna be with him, but I can't go with him into the OR.
Hmm.
I can't know what that portion of it is. So
Yeah.
I've already warned him. He's
Hmm.
he knows what's coming. He was like, "Oh, great, another thing I can worry about."
You
I
know,
was like, "No, we just need to be aware." And frankly, the doctors have not asked us for that information. So I'm hopeful that that's a good
The
sign.
the one thing that came out of my husband's ordeal in being in the hospital in 2021, and that video went viral. If anyone's seen that video that I did about that, um, is that I realized how much I could not trust healthcare providers in general. And what's sad about that was there was only one or two that seemed to have any realm of common sense out of all of the different ones we had to deal with. And I actually lost so much respect because I thought they were literally stupid. And I've never looked at, your average ER doctor that way, or the people that run the hospitals, or I never really saw them as stupid. But I do have to say that in the course of events that happened to my husband, the comments that were made, the asinine things they said, the way that they wanted to get me out of the hospital, they were honestly conspiring to remove me. and I thought, what are you so afraid of? And my desire to want to do things very natural for him that actually ended up benefiting him instead of killing him. And after seeing that proof and still not understanding what had just happened in front of them, was they watched somebody defy the government medical establishment's answer and did something completely different and actually did better than all their other patients. Then I went, oh my gosh, they're stupid. Like I don't trust them at all. So that's
Well,
what came out of it for me. And I hate saying that because I know that everyone's got these people in their families or what have you, but the consensus was, oh my gosh, we're in trouble. Like you can't even rely on these people to help you, to really help you with your health.
well,
I was like, ouch. Maybe in trauma, but nothing. I wouldn't go to them for much else.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Sad.
don't want to discuss my husband's situation, but
Right.
there are circumstances where we do have to have
Mhm.
the assistance of a doctor.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of finding the right one then.
Exactly. Yes.
So
yes.
We're just hopeful that we've got a good one.
Mhm. Oh, I
Yeah.
know. No, seriously, you have to really hope that out of all of the ones that you're going to be in the same room with, that you've got somebody with some piece of common sense about them.
Well, I did feel better
Mhm.
actually because I know that he's going to be in the ICU for the short term after his surgery. They've
Mhm.
already told us to expect that.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm assuming then,
Mhm.
how many people will we be able to come and see him when he's in the
Mhm.
ICU? Yeah, you'll be able. And the doctor said, you'll even be able to stay in the room with him. I said, in the ICU? He goes, yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
And so I felt better about that actually.
Mhm.
I'm
I
like,
was
they're
glad I
not
was
trying
there.
to push me away. And
Mhm. Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know even if they would give him a vaccine. I don't know that they would even tell us.
I know. And it was eye-opening in that way. It truly was for me. I wasn't expecting that. And when I realized that I was on my own, that was a scary thought because I was up against the medical establishment, which is a pretty big, because they were systematically removing rights. They were systematically saying, the person has to be alone in the hospital, and people weren't in there, and they can do that again in a perceived emergency. And that's scary. That's a scary thought. So
Well,
you just do what you can. I mean,
yeah, the only time
in your
that
circumstance.
I want to be removed from a room
Oh my gosh.
with a patient, like with my husband, would
Right.
be if he's like, if they have to put a trach tube in,
Mhm.
some kind of
Sure.
critical trauma
Mhm.
event. Otherwise, we should have access to them.
Right.
It used to
Yeah.
be that nurses were supposed to be the advocate for the patient.
Mhm.
And I think many nurses still believe that that is a part of their role.
Mhm.
But I think COVID taught a lot of nurses that that doesn't need to be their role, that
Right.
they are just cogs in the machine
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. I got a message, stupid might be a really harsh word. Naive. I'll go I'll go with naive.
For who? Doctors?
Nurses, doctors,
Oh.
everybody. Because this person's saying, well, stupid's kind of mean. Okay, maybe that's a harsh term.
I'll
But
tell you, I don't think they're stupid. What I do think though is
maybe naive
and
is better.
someone explained it to me this way, that in
Mhm.
order to be a doctor,
Mhm.
when you're making decisions that affect someone's survivability,
Mhm.
you have to be pretty dang confident of the decisions that you're making.
Yeah.
And so that confidence translates into don't cross me. I'm the only one that knows.
Yes, I am the god of the medical world. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
and most of the time,
Mhm.
who among us can go toe to toe with a doctor and say, no, I know as much as you do.
Mhm. Well,
None
I
of us
did.
really can. Well, there you go.
Well, yeah, I
Your
did. And
situation
was
that
hated
whole
for it.
situation-
Yeah, I was hated
that
for it.
whole situation was a different time.
Yes.
Hopefully it's a different time.
Well, we were in emergency mode, and always remember that the hospitals did nothing to change what happens in an emergency. The politicians did nothing to change what happens in an emergency. The governors still have all of these things on the books, and can they remove you and keep your family member in there and do things against your wishes? vanishes? Well, ask Scott Shara, whose daughter Grace was basically murdered in front of them. So truly, we are not asking as a public for any of that to change. And they're not ponying it up either. So as many want to sit there and say that they love America, you've got all these local, we just had elections, right? So all these local politicians, county politicians, all of these swiney people are not doing anything about elections and are not removing the emergency status problems and issues and diabolical things that happened in 2020 and 2021 and 22. So as much as they want to say they love this country, as much as they want to say they're patriots, I would never believe that now, because the two most basic things that are hurting us, they will not change. And that's obviously one of them is the emergency status.
So this is the last topic that I kind of read for today.
Sure.
The thing that's hurting America the most is 100% it's corruption.
Yeah.
It is politicians who are not representing the people. They are only in it for their own pockets, for their own power.
Right.
It is doctors who are in it for their own power. And many doctors are great and wonderful and benevolent people who really do have good, they think they have the best interests of their patients at heart, but they are not listening. And there has been a huge corrosion of trust in every system because of the corruption. When we saw doctors try to sell us the narrative that the hospitals were flooded with dying COVID patients, but they have enough time to do little songs and dances down the hallway and post on social media.
Amen. Yes.
People felt betrayed. And now, you know what? That trust that we had in these godlike people that are telling us what to do for our health just went out the window.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And how do you recapture that? Who trusts a politician? Who trusts, we're everywhere you turn, we are seeing corruption. And the interesting thing is, and the article that I was reading about this was talking about machine politics are at an all-time high. When I was teaching history, we talked about machine politics in Chicago, the old days of, in New York, it was Tammany Hall, or in Chicago, we have machine politics now for sure. And those machines are only there to crank out, to money launder, to grow power. And yet, when things break down, like in New York, and Mamdani says, the problem is we need rent control.
Right.
No, we need less government, not more, because the more government you have, the more opportunity for corruption we grow.
Amen.
So we've got to cut back on that. It's not capitalism either. It is corruption that is the problem.
Right.
And it's the problem everywhere. I mean, we have sports players that are gambling on their own games. That's just ridiculous.
Well, why aren't more health professionals, I'll call them that, more health professionals that have made that their career, why did they not come out and ever talk about the problems from 2020 to 2022? Why did they not come out and talk about the fact that AI runs their show now and basically is telling them what to prescribe and what to do and lays out the plans? Why are they not discussing that when you go into the ICU, you get 22 doctors on rotation? So everything is a little nutty and you don't have the same doctor. It's just really crazy town. And then they all blame each other for the problems. So why aren't we having any health professionals call out the fact that they haven't changed the emergency status policies that were literally killing people? Why are we not seeing that? And people don't ask for any of that.
They can't take on the system all alone, just like we can't.
Right.
One citizen cannot take on the system and win. Neither can one doctor.
Right. But it just takes one. You start doing it, other doctors would join, right? Just with anything.
Well, right? I know of a doctor that did that during COVID and she lost her job.
Yeah.
That put an end to that, didn't it? And still is not working in the medical field. And they will pick us off one by one, for sure.
Yes.
So I don't know.
The only
you know,
thing we saw was the frontline doctors. They were coming forward as a group, and you saw what happened to Simone, and you saw what happened to some of them. But honestly, it was nice to see that group emerge, because that's who I was listening to at the time, and that's what saved my husband. So, luckily for us, we had them. But I hope in the next go round, which I'm sure there'll be something like it, not the same. They wouldn't be able to get away with that again, but something like it, that we would learn from our past mistakes and only listen to those that are courageous enough to stand against the narratives and actually deliver good information. And the reason you'll know is because people are actually being saved by their response rather than the narrative.
What has been the aftermath in the world of media after following all of this? Instead of allowing more voices to speak, the government apparatus has decided to clamp down even harder on anyone who is speaking what they consider and define as misinformation or whatever. There has been a significant loss of freedoms for the outliers to speak up.
Yeah.
It's harder now than it was during COVID.
Right. Maybe so.
And it wasn't easy then.
Yeah. Sadly.
So we have to fight corruption. You know, maybe I think I've said this before. I had a doctor who insisted that I needed to take a shingles vaccine because I was over 55. Well, the issue for me is I've never had chicken pox. So I can't get shingles. If you've never had chicken pox, you can't get shingles. It's the same virus. And so I told him that. I said, I'm not taking the shingles vaccine because I've never had chicken pox. And he said, well, but you're over 55. And I said, that has nothing to do with it. We need to speak up more consistently to the people who tell us these things. When your doctor says, I want you to do X, Y, or Z thing, it's okay to say no. I walked out of that office that day saying, we're going to have to agree to disagree. I'm not taking your vaccine. I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. And I have to be an informed consumer for my own health, because everyone's health is unique. I am a unique person. Most people have had either the chickenpox vaccine or have had chickenpox as kids. People in my age group have had chickenpox as kids.
Right.
But I have not. And well, I didn't know. How do you know that? I'm like, okay, do we have to go through all this? I've had a blood titer, dude. You know, I do know. I do know what I'm talking about. It's my health and I'm responsible for it.
Right.
But I do have permission to speak to my doctor in a respectful way.
Yeah.
But to say no. And many people do not feel comfortable doing that with their doctor.
No.
And doctors will threaten you.
Yes. There is the God complex. And then also there is I won't say stupid, because that is kind of mean. Because I know some really smart doctors that I trust, and they know who they are. So it's not that. I'm talking about this group of doctors that seem to present themselves in the hospitals that just, I mean, I was just surprised at what they didn't know. Because all you have to do is study history to even realize some of the things I was talking about to them. But I think the naive sense that whatever you're trained in by the Johns Hopkins medical establishment, starting in the 30s, whatever you're trained in, that is it. And that everything else is a person being a stupid internet doctor. So I would love to see the doctors, listen. I would love to see the doctors actually pay some attention to what people's concerns are and what they're actually saying, and then do homework. Because what I noticed was the medical establishment, for the most part, wouldn't do any homework, even on the things the government was saying to do for COVID. They wouldn't even do an ounce of homework. And it surprised me, because wouldn't you? I mean, the first thing I'm doing is homework on remdesivir, right? And they weren't even looking at it. It was like total trust in the government institutions and AI telling them what to do and the hospital administration, but it was never about them actually looking into it, because most told me that they didn't need to because they were relying on the government or on the hospital administration.
Yeah, the CDC
Yeah.
or whoever was giving them the marching orders.
Yes.
In
So
fact, the
that was
doctor that I
disturbing.
just told you about
Mhm.
that lost a job
Mhm.
was somebody who went out and researched what would be best for my
Mhm.
patients and was prescribing ivermectin. And the
Wow.
hospital
Nice.
administration came through and said, you write one more prescription for that, you're going to lose your job.
Amazing.
And she did and lost her job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's what we're up against. That is corruption, my friends.
Mhm.
That is what it looks like. And it exists everywhere.
I know.
It's
And I applaud
corruption is
I really applaud the doctors that actually do look into things, actually do read, actually do look at health and what we used to do for health and what the country doctors did. And I actually love those medical personnel because they do take their job seriously. And I do know some personally that are amazing when it comes to that. And so hat tip to those that the few that actually do that, because you are worth your salt. Like that is amazing.
look for those people
Mhm.
everywhere. There's always going to be a
Mhm.
handful. There's a
Yes.
handful of politicians who are that way. There's a
Yeah.
handful of people in every business that
Yes.
are going to
You're
be the people who are saying, I don't compromise my values.
Yes.
So that look for
Mhm.
those people and reward them with your
Mhm.
support and loyalty.
So there's one more thing that I just wanted to mention, because I thought this was such a strange thing, because we're talking about weather and what's in the skies or what have you. So I want to leave everybody with this, but I want to ask you a question, Melissa, Midwest Melissa. So there was an article today talking about the fact that they have pulled from the NOAA, these sensors for tracking deadly waves. And and I thought to myself, look, if you're going to go in and clean the government up, is the NOAA the first place you'd go?
To clean the government?
To start getting rid of mechanisms that cost money. Would you go to the NOAA that oversees the warning systems for?
No.
Oh,
No.
yeah. I
No.
mean, I wouldn't think
I live in
so.
I live in a place where
Yeah.
tornado warnings are
Mhm.
important things.
Mhm.
Seriously. And so
Right. Right.
for most of the year, if there's an
Mhm.
incoming, well, even snow incoming can be a thing. It
Mhm.
depends on where you are exactly. But no, they are not the people that I
No.
would be looking at.
No. So
There's other government agencies. I would start, frankly, with the IRS
or the
but
Federal
that's just
Reserve,
me.
or there's
Well, the
IRS.
Federal Reserve is not a government agency.
No, they are, but they pretend not to be. But yes, and the the IRS. I mean, that would be a good way. That would be a good place to start for sure. I would imagine. But the NOAA, this is like the fourth thing that they've actually canceled, and so what that tells me, because of course Blizzard Watch is gone, and the
hurricane warning.
the satellite derived microwave data feed, and then of course severe weather alerts. So a lot of these things are ended, that have ended, right? And so it's kind of interesting, because when I talk about weather warfare coming, this would tell me that that the agenda is still in play for weather warfare, that not only still in play, but probably on steroids, as they're canceling some of these things that would tell you that these things are coming, right? And these things aren't the greatest predictors in the world, but still, that is not the place I'd probably cut funding. There's other places. Yeah. Like
however,
lesbians farming and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Grant programs.
I would there's a lot of things. We can't
Mhm.
hurricane prediction is difficult without a radar.
Mhm.
Um
Tsunami
but
warning centers.
I have just because I kind of enjoy it.
Mhm.
I've read a couple of books on like reading nature signs for all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
And so I kind of pay attention to warning signs here in the Midwest for changing weather, that you can usually see signs, natural signs, 24 hours ahead of those kinds of changes.
Mhm.
However, what I would say is most of us spend so much time indoors now, and we are so disconnected from the natural environment that we don't read those things anymore.
Right.
We don't know how to read them. We don't know
Mhm.
what to look for. There's a whole
Mhm.
series. I can't remember the guy that wrote the book, but he's written a whole book on how to navigate without a map,
Mhm.
without anything. And I found it. He can tell directions without a compass and without a map. And I'm like, oh man, this is fascinating stuff.
Right.
But those are skills that, if you have an interest in it, learn
Mhm.
it because it's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
We're not
And
seeing skill sets like that anymore in a lot of people.
no,
Mhm.
because we're disconnected from the
Yeah.
natural world.
Mhm.
We
Very
think
true.
our we think our food comes from the grocery, and we think, our weather comes from the TV set.
The
And
chickens have nuggets.
oh yeah. You mean that's not true either? Oh my
Sorry.
gosh, Kate.
I know. Chicken nuggets and Bigfoot. I mean, lizard people. Sorry.
I'm
Yes.
gonna cry all night now.
Oh my gosh. It truly is. It's fascinating time to be alive, for sure. But man, we really need some common sense, and we really need to start asking for the things that we need to be done. I don't know that the public is, but in this Northern Lights thing, this is going to get interesting tonight. I'm sure your social media feeds will be filled with all of this.
Yeah. I might have
But
to go out to the cornfield tonight.
there you go. Risk your
I'll let
alien
you know if
abduction.
I'll let you know if I see any. I'll
Oh
let you know.
goodness. Amazing. But I loved all your comments because there is a natural like, this is weird. And I like that because I think at least people are thinking, and at least people are kind of wondering why all of a sudden, when you have to meet certain conditions, why all of a sudden 17 states are able to see these things. And we know we're getting sprayed. I was just reviewing a Prince song about that, where he was talking about the chemtrails. He talked about a lot of things before his weird death, but Prince, but
Yeah.
chemtrails are not a theory. I wish people would stop saying that because it's something to look at for sure and understand. So we're
Well,
getting
even the
sprayed.
government has admitted that it's not a
I
theory.
know, but why?
Like,
I mean,
seriously.
we've had the head of the CIA, as corrupt as he is, coming out and talking, bragging about it. So sometimes I'm thinking, are people just not paying attention to those things? I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway.
Well, I don't know. Keir Starmer, just down there in Brazil, said
Mhm.
that, the climate change is an existential threat, and we
Oh my
can count on the
gosh.
British to, be the leaders of the cause. And I'm like, Britain is about
Mhm.
what, the size of Minnesota? And they're going to lead
Mhm.
the world on this?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
seriously? What are you into?
Well,
Well,
yeah.
I think we know what he's into, but
And a lot of people will be blaming climate change for these northern lights as well. As funny as that seems, but it is going on right now for I think 10 days over in Brazil. So yeah, the 30th annual climate change conference, COP30. So
yeah, great.
yeah.
Woohoo.
Anyway, I know Greta must be just salivating over this.
Wait, no, I thought, isn't she still in Israel?
I have no idea.
Oh, excuse me. Wait, no. She would be in Palestine.
Oh
She would not be in
gosh.
Israel.
Yes, of course. Oh my gosh. It's so frightening. Anyway, yeah. Please, human caused climate change. What do these people meet about? I don't know. I would love to be a fly on that wall. But thank you for joining me, Midwest Melissa, and thanks to all of you actually too for joining us, because we love talking about all this stuff for sure. Be faithful, be fearless. Go to katedalleyradio.com, visit the sponsors, the deals at allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. Get Cardio Miracle. It's a mineral delivery system. It's incredible. I'm very much leaning on that. And I so thank you for joining us today. Love you guys. All right. I shall. Well, anyway, we'll bid you adieu. What can we say? Thanks, you guys.